exactly what I was saying, 30 seconds back about that detailed ejection sequence as well. What you see, viewers, on one end of your screen is where the two pilots safely ejecting. That you can see the two of them safely ejecting as the aircraft, the F-15, went down. So it caught fire mid-air, and then that is the other sequence where you can see the two of them safely being ejected. That is when the F-15E Strike Eagle caught fire. Circumstances of it, was it a friendly fire incident? Was it any particular mechanical failure? Was it something else? All those are details that we are going to wait for. But those dramatic visuals that we are putting out show on one end the F-15 catching fire, and on the other end, most importantly, the two pilots inside safely able to eject from there. All right, yes, Aditya, I want to go back to you as these visuals continue to come in, those dramatic visuals that continue to come in. Many are now, of course, asking that where does this go? A US warplane being downed in whatever circumstances in the middle of a Middle East war that is escalating, and sharp rhetoric coming in from Donald Trump's administration means that this is likely to lead to more consequences.
Well, certainly it's a big claim by the Iranian state media that an F-15 American jet has been downed, has been neutralized over the Kuwaiti airspace. It's a major escalation by the Iranian side, if at all true. We'll have to wait, of course, for the US side to say. There are multiple theories that are going around. One, of course, is the fact that this could be possibly a friendly fire. Second, there could be a projectile, either a drone or a missile that could have hit this particular aircraft, either directly or accidentally. And third, there could be perhaps a technical failure, which seems very, there is slim chance of a technical failure that could have led to this. So the entire sequence that you already explained to the viewers is very critical as well. The aircraft is flying in the Kuwaiti airspace, and suddenly we see it rotating after there's a, kind of a fire on the aircraft. Immediately after, when the rotation begins, the two pilots of the American F-15 eject very much safely. There are multiple videos that we are putting out here for the benefit of our viewers. You can actually see the entire sequence of the two pilots safely evacuating and in fact ejecting from the American F-15. Then thereafter, the aircraft crashes into the land after being in the Kuwaiti airspace. We are awaiting a response from the Kuwaiti Aviation Ministry as well, and how the Kuwaiti government reacts to this. There could be possibly the first statement coming in from the Kuwaiti side about the details of the jet that actually crashed, how this happened, whether the pilots are safe, and what are the countermeasures that the Kuwaiti government now plans to do immediately after this crash. So we'll wait for that particular statement to come in. But on NDTV, for the first time this Monday morning, we are breaking these very crucial details that are coming across about the crash that has happened. It could be possibly the first major, asset of the American Air Force that has been downed and neutralized at a time when there is thick activity, fast-paced activity taking shape across West Asia and Middle East. Several countries embroiled and engulfed in this entire sequence that we are talking about. A lot of violence, a lot of killings, a lot of destruction that has been reported over the last 48 to 50 hours. And now, in these visuals, it's very clear that an American F-15 seems to be down. How will Trump and Peter Hegseth actually react to this is anybody's guess. There would be fury. It's an Operation Fury, and now the fury might actually increase towards Tehran. There could be possibly anger diverted towards strategic assets that Iranians have across Tehran and other cities, and also other senior commanders of the IRGC, the Basij forces, and the paramilitary and the police forces in Iran. So very dramatic visuals coming on the screens from the Kuwaiti airspace, even as we track developments in Israel, Iran, and several other countries in the neighborhood where continuously sirens have been buzzing, and there are activities that we are talking about, people going into shelter, and of course, people unaware of what the future really looks like. The immediate future does not really look very well with the escalation of the conflict and missiles going from one side to the other. So we are staying with these three important visuals. On one, you can see the aircraft flying in the air, rotating immediately, either with a projectile hitting or some kind of an action on in air. The second is of pilots actually ejecting, and third is finally when the aircraft really crashes. So on NDTV, first to report these developments, quoting the Iranian media for safety. It's important we are here verifying facts, not putting out any kind of disinformation. We are factual that the American side has not reacted to it. The Kuwaiti government has not put out a statement yet. We'll wait for the official word, but these are very, very concerning and dramatic visuals coming on the screen from Kuwait, even as I report from Israel in Tel Aviv, where sirens were buzzing moments ago, and there was incoming Iranian fire towards Israel. There have been 3 to 4 events in Israel as well over the last 2 days. There have been many casualties, but here in Kuwait, this does not look good. This is not the kind of message that Americans or the Israelis were looking for. This is a dramatic escalation, if at all it is true. And now, certainly, Gauri, we'll have to wait for answers that will initially come from the Kuwaiti government and perhaps a reaction from US and Israel. And further, there could be a dramatic increase in the American and Israeli airstrikes against Iran.
Indeed, and two important things that we must put out and tell that these dramatic visuals that are coming in right now of the aircraft catching fire, the pilots ejecting safely, and the aircraft finally, the F-15 being downing right there. You can see all these three visuals come in at a time. Two important things are happening. The US Congress will be briefed by the Trump administration. So they need to be told exactly what is happening. Ahead of that, these dramatic visuals of the best in class warplane in the world being downed like this will lead to some question marks, and accountability will be sought from the US Congress, from Donald Trump's administration. And the second thing is, it comes just 6 hours before the US Defense Defense Minister Pete Hegseth will tell in detail exactly the military operation that US has conducted and plans to do so. And I think, Aditya, that's extremely important. The context in which these visuals are coming in, the timing of them, and of course, the questions that will be asked of Pete Hegseth and Donald Trump's administration.
Absolutely, Gauri. You're putting it, appropriately what we expect over the next few hours. Very significant questions that will be put by the US Congress to the Trump administration on what has happened. But staying with these visuals from Kuwait that have really come in, and we are putting out three significant aspects of the visuals that we have received from the Iranian media. It's important to put out this action sequence, this dramatic chase that has happened really with the American F-15 aircraft likely downed by the Iranian missile or a drone in that Kuwaiti airspace. There are two important developments that have happened on the sidelines just in the last couple of hours. One, there are fresh reports now coming in of a blast, in fact, multiple blasts from the capital of UAE, Abu Dhabi. We'll have to wait for more details where these blasts have taken place in Abu Dhabi, what is the reaction of the government, and whether there's been some destruction or fire, because there have been several such reports in the last 2 days, and we have verified that. We have put out visuals as well. The second important detail, Gauri, that we are breaking here on NDTV since morning is the action, a fresh action by the Israeli Defense Forces, the IDF, against Hezbollah in Lebanon. Now, there were some projectiles that were coming in from the Lebanon side, from Hezbollah early this morning, and the Israeli Air Force and the Israeli Defense Forces have acted against it and hit Hezbollah centers in Beirut and several other areas. There are casualties that have been reported there. Initial reports say more than 20 people have been killed in these airstrikes by the Israeli Air Force and the Defense Forces in Lebanon. This is after Hezbollah tried to join the war in support of Iran from the northern side of the border of the Israelis. We've seen in the last 2.5 years, ever since Israel-Hamas conflict, Hezbollah was embroiled in this as well, supporting Hamas for the first time. Iran, Hamas, Hezbollah, and the Houthis coming together against Israel. But then the top leadership of Hezbollah, Hamas, was wiped out, and now the top leadership of Iran has been wiped out. All these 3 to 4 groups had a significant role to play in the 7th October terror attacks that happened in southern Israel, not very far from where I'm standing, where 1,200 people have been killed. Now, staying again with these visuals early morning in India, I'm reporting from Israel for NDTV over the last few days, even as there are several developments that are taking shape across West Asia that are very concerning, potentially have huge geopolitical and economic consequences, because this is not looking good for connectivity, for oil as well, because there's a lot of oil that India also gets from the Middle East that could be hampered. There could be connectivity that could be hampered. And here in Kuwait, this visual coming on your screens, three important visuals that we are playing out parallelly, does not look good. It is an F-15, an American F-15. These are visuals that have been released by the Iranian media. F-15 from the American side being down, being neutralized, in fact, either through an Iranian projectile or some kind of a missile or drone that seems to have hit this. And in the Kuwaiti airspace, this action, dramatic action taking place in which this aircraft is coming down. The pilots seem to have ejected very, very safely in this, but who knows what has happened and what exactly is the sequence really. Only the Kuwaitis or the American experts could really define this moment really, because this could be a defining moment on the next chapter of what US and Israel really does in Iran. So very significant developments taking shape. Back to you, Gauri.